And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Got him! So colorful! And underneath here it says it was his job to trap her before she trapped him. And it looks kind of like a Merryworth comic front cover. Okay, well, when I first saw it I thought, alright, it's one of those typical games that someone throws out to get out in the mass market. But what I found was that it's actually a really decent abstract strategy game that can also be played as a family game. Let me show you what I mean. There's a difference between the two styles of games. Here we go.
Alright, there's two versions of the game. There's the bright rules and the brainy rules, which are actually, here in the rule book, the bright rules and the brainy rules. It's actually not a bad rule book. And then on the other side, all the other languages. But the way the board is made, there's two sides to the board. This is for the brainy rules. This is a straight abstract strategy game. And this is adding a bit of luck to the game. But each side, this one has colors, obviously. You have these little walls, and there's ridges here where you can stick the wall between two spots. So players place their pawns on the starting spots, and then it's really simple. In this version of the game, you're going to have a hand of cards, and on your turn you simply play a card. For example, this one says place a wall in any green square. You may then move your pawn up to 3 spaces. So let's say I'm blue. I'll place my wall here, and then I can move 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. And the goal of the game is very simple. What you're trying to do is you are trying to place walls so that you have somebody completely enclosed, like this yellow player here. Once that last wall is placed like that, yellow can no longer move. But as the game progresses, what's going to be the case is the walls are going to be placed all over the board, forming different sections, kind of a maze that you have to get through, and you try to keep moving so that you're free from getting trapped by the walls, but eventually you're going to get into a spot where the walls will close you in from the other players. Obviously, the more players there are in the game, though, there's going to be a little bit less strategy, because if the other 3 players decide to gang up on you, you are in trouble. Now, most of these cards will have something like that. Place it on red, green, yellow, blue. Here you have place it on place the wall in any square. There are a few cards that will allow you to take a wall off of a square, and there's a few cards that actually let you move your pawn through a wall. Like, for example, here. You may move your pawn up to 2 squares through walls. So there's some obvious cards that will allow you to escape from being in the walls, but obviously, just the way the game is made, there will come a point where you're going to be trapped. When you're trapped, you're out, and the game continues until one person is not trapped, and that person is the winner. Now, on the other side, by the way, these walls, they're pretty easy to get in. I mean, they're really easy to get out, and they fit in, fairly simple. The other side is you simply take the card deck and chuck it, and on your turn, you place a wall anywhere you like, and then you move. And when you move, the amount of spaces you're allowed to move is the number of walls you're next to. So if you're next to 2 walls, you can move 2 spaces. And play is exactly the same. I think this is better. It's a really decent 2-player game. Again, with 3 or 4 players, there's the let's gang up on somebody syndrome. But this one, there's no luck, there's no cards. So you have 2 versions of the game you can play. For people who want a lighter game, using the cards is better. This one is more of a brain burner. Again, in this version, the last person who is not trapped is the winner.
So there you have it. And I think this is a good mix, and it's a good game to get, because if you like tough, strategic, abstract games, you have it here, but you also have a game that the whole family can play. It's entertaining. Yes, there's player elimination, but the game is very quick. I mean, you can draw it out, but it's fun. It's light. I trapped you in this thing. Okay, how are you going to get out of that one? Where should I move to? While the 2-player abstract strategy game, I mean, you can play it more than 2-player, but the 2-player game is very tense, very much ha 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 on your face this time. So I like both versions, but I play them with different people. I'll play the family version with the cards with pretty much anyone, while the version that's going to sit there, this is one of the games that has made my geometric class tournament of the ages list. What I do is I play 2-player games in my geometry classes that I teach, trying to teach them logic, and I have tournaments, and I want games that are quick and yet provoke good thought, and this is one that I'm going to be using this year. So for that reason alone, I have to approve it. It's got 'em.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.